Unsung Murder Ballads discusses topics of a disturbing nature.
And we're not going to hold back on the graphic details and disturbing content.
So we do not recommend our podcast for children under the age of 13.
And while we respect the victims and their families involved in these tragic cases,
we're also going to be critical of mistakes that are made during the investigations.
And we're going to use dark humor to express ourselves now and then.
So with that said, this podcast may not be for everyone.
And that's okay. We're glad you're here checking us out.
And if you've made it this far, welcome to the Unsung Murder Ballads family. And follow us on Instagram at Unsung Murder Ballads if you want to talk to us.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Unsung Murder Ballads. This is episode 54. I am Janus Dead.
I'm Jameson Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
So tonight we're doing something a little different. We're doing what we're calling Murder Ballad Roulette. So what we're going to do with this is we're taking smaller cases from around the world that maybe didn't have enough information to fill out even a 20-minute episode, but we're going to do them anyway, but we're going to do them in, small bursts. And there's going to be 6 of them, so just like a revolver. And we'll see how it goes.
All right, let's rock. All right, I'm spinning
looking forward to it.
So the first case we're going to do is taking us to India. And it is the murder spree of a man named Maina Ramulu. Maina Ramulu was born in the Arulta village of Telangana, India. As an adult, he worked as a stone cutter. When Ramulu was 21 years old, his family arranged a marriage for him. However, a few days after their wedding, his wife went and eloped with another man.
What the hell?
That is tough.
Rough.
Yeah, that's a bad setup right there.
It is, and it's unfortunate. It is definitely the culture to have arranged marriages there, but
right.
I can see that being something that happens when you do not like what was arranged for you.
Especially, because it happened after they had already been married, which means she was like, nope.
Right, like elope before, you bitch.
Yeah, like she dipped after the fact. That's fucked up.
Right.
So obviously this caused Ramulu to have a deep hatred for women. So
obviously
all women.
We have to hate all women because one woman sucks.
That's right. This dude went all in on his hatred of women just because of one shitty woman.
Well, that's what men be doing.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. That's far too true. So he started to harass women and began murdering them in 2003.
Oh, no.
That escalated quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that went fast. Okay.
His modus operandi consisted of finding single women in toddy shops and drinking with them. Now, obviously, I'm assuming neither of you know what a toddy shop is, and I'm going to guess most of our listeners don't. But this is basically small drinking establishments. Now, they can be as elaborate as a normal bar or tavern, but oftentimes they're more like just a shack on the side of the road.
Okay, a little hole in the wall, a little dive bar, okay.
No, even worse. It looks like pieces of wood that were just like leaned together.
Oh, okay.
God.
Yeah, they're I saw some images where they really looked like a shed, and people are going in there and having drinks.
Gotcha. Interesting.
So after the women were intoxicated, Ramulu would wait for everyone else in the toddy shop to leave, and then he would strangle his victims to death with their sari. Basically, when you're imagining what an Indian woman would look like, this is what they're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
So after murdering a woman in September of 2009, police apprehended him in a different toddy shop on October 14th of 2009. The police were able to retrieve a pair of silver circlets, a pair of ear studs, 4 silver rings, 2 motorcycles, and a Nokia phone from Ramulu's home. Okay, so
it's sus that he would have all that jewelry.
All that, yeah. So Ramulu confessed to murders, but claimed to have done so unknowingly because he was inebriated.
Great fucking excuse, asshole.
That's a weak cop-out.
Huge.
Yeah.
Sad. So Ramulu was sentenced to life in prison for the murders on September 21st, 2011, and then taken to the Central Cherapalli prison to serve out his life sentence. However,
because you said that's when he started killing women.
Yeah. However, that same month, Ramulu was admitted to a psychiatric hospital for treatment. In December of 2011, Ramulu and 5 other inmates escaped from that hospital.
Ooh.
So one flew over the cuckoo's nest?
It's funny. Yeah, I guess that works. I was thinking Bundy, but yes. So after his escape, he murdered 5 more women
Oh my
Oh my
god.
God.
in Bowenpally, Chandanagar, and Dundagal. On May
Damn.
13th of 2012, he was apprehended by the Bowenpally police and sent back to prison. Following an appeal and a petition that he filed with the High Court, he was released in 2018.
How the fuck
Seriously?
do you
Come on now.
appeal a life sentence?
I have
like
no
what?
idea. He not only was it a life sentence, an escape, and then 5 more murders.
Did they know he did the 5 more murders?
Yeah, he was sentenced to that as well.
Holy and
Yeah. He released.
what the fuck?
He was released
Incompetence
in
at
20.
its finest.
Yeah, he was released in 2018, and while free, he murdered.
Oh my god, he only served like less than 10 years.
He served less than 10 years. Actually, I think that was 6 years.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, he murdered 2 more women in Shamir Pet and Patanchiru.
Oh,
He was
come on.
He was subsequently arrested again and sent back to prison.
Please tell me it's over.
Yeah, come on now.
In 2020,
No.
Ramulu filed another appeal.
Come on.
With the Telangana High Court and was released from prison again
Oh my
You
God.
have got to be fucking kidding me.
on July 31st, 2020. I wish I was kidding. I wish I was making this
Oh
up.
That
my
is such
god.
a sick joke.
That's fucked.
Ramulu was accused of murdering 2 more women in 2020. So on December 10th, 2020, he allegedly met a woman at a toddy shop in Balanagar.
Oh my god, so it hasn't even changed like his MO.
No, he's kept the same MO.
No, he's just going to be a cocky prick about it.
It's
Af-
insane.
After
It's
he
insane.
after he offered her money for sex, the two went to a secluded area in a nearby village where he strangled her to death. This
Ugh.
victim is still unidentified, but is estimated between the age of 35 and 45. Then
That's so sad.
on December 30th, 2020, Ramulu allegedly met Kavala Venkatama, 50, at a toddy shop in Jubilee Hills. The two went to an isolated area where he beat her to death with a boulder, according to
A
reports.
boulder?
A boulder. That's what the news report said. A boulder.
What?
What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm just imagining the
What?
rock was so big that they had no other word for it.
Oh,
Ugh,
dear God.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
After killing her, Ramulu used her clothing and gasoline to burn her face beyond recognition.
Oh, God.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Authorities had to use her cell phone to identify her, which luckily he didn't take with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. On January 1st of 2021, a man named Kavala Anathia lodged a complaint with the Jubilee Hills police station because his wife Kavala had gone missing. On January 4th, they discovered her body near a railway track, and basically this is when they started really investigating and they got to see some CCTV footage of Kavala with Ramulu.
Oh no.
So at this point, and digging through this, they also saw video footage of him with the other victim as well.
Oh my god. Literally, I can't believe he's out of prison. I can't with this.
I can't believe they let him out the first time after the escape. The escape, wasn't much they could have done anything about, but to have released him twice more is ridiculous.
It's insane.
So with the CCTV footage, they were able to identify Ramulu, and they went and they arrested him. He was arrested on January 26, 2021, and charged with their 2 murders. As of the most recent reports, Ramulu is still in prison awaiting trial while investigators look into his possible involvement in other murders.
Jesus Christ.
Crazy. And that is the
If
case.
they don't actually keep him
absolutely
in for life this
sickening.
time, I can't.
I don't understand, I don't know much about Indian law, but to not keep someone in prison for murder is crazy to me.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know enough about India or Indian culture to comment on like, what informs that. But that's crazy to me.
Yeah, like the only thing I can come up with is maybe they just didn't take the murders of women who are in toddy shops very seriously, kind of like they don't with like sex workers.
Right, because you did say that he had offered to pay someone for sex,
Right.
so
But still,
it could be like the background of these women that like affects. I mean, worldwide, this is a problem. It definitely could have been the background that means that like they're like, oh well, not that much of a loss.
yeah, cleaning up society, blah blah blah. Right.
Yeah, that kind of shit.
So yeah, so that's the case of Maina Ramulu. So
Oh my God,
and I hope
that's
and I hope-
mind blowing.
and I hope
One
I-
final note I just Googled, they do have the death penalty in India.
So yeah, so why wasn't he given that? That's crazy.
I do not know.
They just decided to give him chance after chance after chance after chance.
Yeah, well, like I was just about to say, I do hope someone decides to take some vigilante justice on him wherever he is. But
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
all right, so Jameson, your first roulette case. What you got?
All right, so my first roulette case is going to be the case of Eric Borel. He was
Okay.
born to Marie Jean Parente and Jacques Borel. Both of his parents were in the military at the time of his birth. The union between the parents did not last very long, and Eric was sent to live with his father's parents in Lamages until he was 5 years old.
Okay.
So, not starting off too good right away.
No,
Mhm.
sent away from your parents is never good for a future killer.
No.
And of course, the mother decides to be an absent mother, and on the occasions she visits, it's very awkward and very weird. The mother does end up getting into a relationship with a new man. His name is Yves Vichette,
Okay.
and the mother ends up taking Eric from the grandparents and brings him back to live with her in Solis Pon, back where both her and her new man were living. I don't know why she thought that would be a good idea, or if she thought something was going to change, or the kid was just going to take care of himself.
Ugh.
Seems to be an absent parent already.
Yeah, that's sad.
Eric's mother was an authoritarian and an outwardly devoted woman, but she still managed to mistreat her child and beat her child because she saw him as a child of quote unquote sin.
Oh wow.
Ugh, fucker.
But wasn't she
So-
married to his father? How are you a child of sin if you were married? Unless
I don't think they were officially married. I think it was more of like a long partnership or long unionship
okay.
between them.
Maybe not like born of sin in the way you're thinking, more like that there's something wrong with him and she, thinks
Oh,
he's
so-
the sinner.
Yeah, he's the Antichrist kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of vibe.
So Eric never got along with Eve, and he was actually reported to have beaten Eric himself.
Oh,
So,
wow.
two deadbeat parents there. Even to the point where Eric was scared to go home. There was one instance when he was 8 years old, he broke his arm, and rather than go home and seek help, he ran away.
Wow.
He didn't feel
Can't
safe
blame
going
him.
home.
Yeah, like that's so sad that like home isn't even a safe place anymore. Like when you break your fucking arm and you're like, no, I can't go home. That sucks.
Yeah, I can't imagine that.
Yeah, that's bad.
But he did what he had to do, I guess. So Eric grew up and he had an admiration for the military. He really got into knowing all about the military and really admiring it and loving it. He would lie and he would describe his relationship with his father as a good one, and that his father was a war hero, and everything was hunky dory. I guess to just put up appearances.
I would
Sometimes
argue.
you lie so that people don't ask further questions.
Yeah, and I was going to say, or sometimes you're trying to build the world you want. You know what I mean? Or at least you're trying to project it to other people that you're in a world where you enjoy life. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Right. I'm like, I can relate. It's like when people ask about like certain parts of my life that were really traumatic, I just lie. I'm like, I'm not even going to open that can of worms for you. I'm simply going to say something different happened.
Right, and something like that, you like any kind of traumatic event, you don't want to just share with anybody because you don't really know how they're going to react. I had an ex one time who it was very clear she was keeping something from me, and I kept trying to ask her about it, and I tried to be as open and as comforting and as safe as possible, but she kept saying like every ex that she had that she told this one particular thing part of her life to would eventually use it against her, so she just
it's
wouldn't
sad.
share it with me. So to this day I still don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So he attended high school and he did well academically. He was a great student up until the last year when his behavior radically changed. He started skipping classes and not showing up and just not being himself. So a lot of people were wondering, well, what's going on? What had happened? Why aren't you this well-natured person anymore? There were a lot of dark thoughts and dark things that went through for Eric. He had told a classmate that he would kill himself, but before he killed himself, he's taken 2 or 3 people down with him.
Ooh, red
Right.
flag, red flag.
Exactly. Somebody call the police.
Yes, talk to a mandated reporter, please.
Although this isn't in the U.S. I don't know. This is what?
Oh, good point.
This is France.
No, so this is in France. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So Eric had one good friend. His name was Alan. Alan was the popular kid, very outgoing, but still remained friends with Eric. Now, Eric's, along with his dark thoughts, had dark things at home. He was rumored to have a bedroom full of Nazi paraphernalia.
Yeah, that's.
And there was rumors that he was a fascist sympathizer.
Yikes.
And those rumors kind of took traction as his stepfather attended meetings at the Front National in 1989.
Wow.
Oh, yikes. Yup.
So, yeah, digging himself a deeper hole here.
Well, no, but you
Mhm.
can see where the change came from. He obviously met someone who introduced him to this, and he dove headfirst into it.
Now here's where things start to go downhill and everything just falls apart. The series of attacks that were carried out by Eric started on September 23rd, 1995, when Eric killed his stepfather.
Oh my God. That's a fucking way to start.
Yeah.
He killed him by shooting him 4 times with a .22 rifle and then smashing his head with a hammer.
Oh.
Wow. That's some anger right there. You didn't just shoot him. You beat his head in with a hammer.
Yeah, that
was pure hatred.
Mm-hmm.
Next, Eric assaults his 11-year-old half-brother.
Oh, no.
Who was just sitting there watching television.
Oh.
Just innocently.
Just a fucking kid, dude. That sucks.
Now, Eric cleans up all the blood, makes everything all as if nothing ever happened. And he waits for his mother to return home. She had gone out, and she returns home at about 8:30 p.m. And he immediately kills her with a single gunshot to the head.
That's it, though. He doesn't do anything else to her?
Nope.
More angry at the stepdad, I guess.
Yeah, it was more of a, okay, this needs to happen, but it's just going to be quick and we're done.
Okay.
Now, once again, he cleans up the blood. He puts the bodies in sheets and closes all the shutters to the house. He packs a bag that is filled with food, money, raincoat, and heads on his way. Also with a pistol that has rubber bullets, and he makes his way to Cures. He traveled by car at first, but unfortunately he did crash that car, and he then continued on foot.
That's funny. Sorry.
I know. I don't know if it was his anger or what had caused it, but yeah, I kind of laughed when I read that as well.
My thought is whatever he's going through is fucking with his whole body.
Yeah, he's definitely like fucking going, the chemicals in his brain are fucking out of it.
Super manic state.
Mm-hmm.
The bodies of the murdered family were found by another one of Eve's sons, who came home, found everyone.
Found everybody
That's horrifying to come. Ugh.
What's worse is he was at first considered a suspect. They looked at him and thought that he could have been involved.
I mean, they have to look at everybody, I suppose.
Right. Like, I can see why, but it really sucks.
I think it's unfair to be targeted like that after going through such a traumatic thing like that.
Yeah. I was reading a story the other day about, like, someone whose, like, infant died, and then, so, like, obviously tragic, like, their infant died suddenly, and then they were under investigation immediately from CPS and, like, the state, and it's like, because people are fucked, like, family has to be the first suspect. Like, even if, like, they're the people who are mourning, like, the dead deserve to, like, for us to find out what actually happened.
Right, and they're the people that have access. Like, so you have to look at them first. And probably, I would say over half the time, they're the ones responsible.
Eric's absence went unnoticed until about 3 hours later. On the day of the murder, he shows up at Alan's house at 7:15 in the morning, and the two go for a walk in the garden. Eric asks Alan for something, but Alan refuses. And as Alan turns away to go back home, Eric shoots him in the back,
Ugh,
Wow.
fatally wounding him.
fuck.
Your life is over.
Literally shot in the back. That's fucked.
So from 7:30 onwards, Eric starts shooting random people.
Wow.
His rifle doesn't draw any suspicion because it's hunting season. And apparently that's normal to just walk around with a rifle.
It's too bad the other people around him didn't also have rifles and start shooting back at him.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, everyone's always like, well, with the good guys with the guns, will stop him. Never works.
Yeah, right? No, this is not a movie.
Nope.
So there's a slew of people that Eric shot at while he was on his rampage. He shot at a woman through an open window, mortally wounding her. He shot at a woman while she was just taking out her trash. He injured an elderly woman who was just walking across the street with her elderly husband. And he killed several others. By 8 a.m., police are at the scene. It took them a half an hour.
Ugh.
Eric realizes that he's surrounded, and he takes the coward's way out and shoots himself in the head.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
All these people had to suffer, and there's no justice. He just takes himself out of the equation. In total, there were 40 rounds fired. Total death toll was 15.
Okay.
Eric's shooting spree was the deadliest mass murder in France since 1989. And that is the case of Eric Borel.
Wow, that's fucked up.
That is really fucked up. And it's like just so many innocent random people.
We've talked about spree killers, in other episodes, and that's why I said I'm not surprised he took the coward's way out. But this guy's walking down the fucking street doing it. That's crazy to me.
Literally.
All right, Joyous, you ready? Where does yours take us?
All right. So my case is taking us to China. So disclaimer, my Chinese pronunciation is not perfect, but I'm going to try.
I was going to say that's probably true of all of us on every one of these cases.
Yes, this is always true. Not our strong suit.
No,
But
not.
all right. So let's jump in. This is the case of Tian Mingjian.
Okay.
He was born in 1964. As an adult, he was a first lieutenant stationed at an army base in Tongshan County, which was a suburb of Beijing. He had been in the military for over 10 years, originally a sharpshooter, and was highly skilled in military technology. So an experienced gunman.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's dangerous right there.
Yeah, so we're starting off, I think you can see where this might be going.
Yeah, it's not in a good direction.
At one point during his career in the army, he was promoted to regimental staff officer for military affairs. So he has a career in the military. He's not just in it.
Yeah, so he's doing well. He's just not some guy. He's not a guy that got drafted or was just like, I have no direction in life, so I'll join the military for a couple of years. He's making a career.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he's a career military man. At the time of his crime, he was serving in this position in the 12th Regiment of the 3rd Guard Division of PLA Beijing Garrison. It was reported that he had a quarrel with his superiors because they had forced his wife to have an abortion when she was pregnant with their second child because of China's one-child policy.
Right. I forgot. I think they did away with that since then.
Yes, it has been done away with. I believe, I don't know if it's unlimited now or if it's like I believe so first they went to 2-child and then they went to 3-child as far as I know, which is backfiring because nobody wants to have multiple children, or very few people want to have multiple children in China.
Right. Well, I do remember hearing that there were reports of abductions of girls because there were fewer girls because they couldn't inherit or whatever. So now
Exactly. Often it was sex selective abortion. So like if your first pregnancy, if you found out that it was a girl, it was like actually very like acceptable to abort that child. So they end up with this crazy gender ratio.
Right. So then you hear, decades later, you hear about the abduction of girls because now you have people who have sons and they're trying to figure out who they're going to marry someday.
Mm-hmm.
So they're abducting their future wives. It's a very fucked up situation they created.
Yeah, it's very twisted.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate and a really just sad policy in how it ended up. Like the cultural and societal ramifications are horrific when you don't even consider now the declining birth rate, and now because of the Chinese economy, nobody wants to have multiple children. They can't afford it. The birth rate is declining even further, so they have this like aging population, which is a big problem.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah,
interesting
that
to see where they
seems
end
crazy.
Right. Back to the case. So Tian already had a daughter, but because he came from a rural area where they had strong traditional values that emphasize having a male child, which, to be honest, are kind of across Chinese culture.
Right.
He secretly planned on also having a son until someone in the army revealed his plan, and the birth control officer forced his wife to have an abortion, which is really sad. And it's sad because sometimes in rural areas they actually would allow families to have more than one child, because like if they were farming communities, then you needed children to help carry on like the work in the community. But clearly, I mean, I don't know if it had to do with the fact that he was in the military, but that wasn't the case here. They would only let him have one child.
Yeah, they probably closely monitor their military servicemen more than your average farmer.
Yeah, exactly. This was the second forced abortion in their family. And at that point, when this happened this time, his wife was already 7 months pregnant.
7.
Oh my God. What?
Yeah,
Wow.
really fucked up.
What?
Really
Holy
fucked up.
crud.
And she died during the operation.
Oh,
So this guy's rampage is almost justifiable.
Yeah. We can 100% see where this is coming from. And after this, they found out that the fetus was a boy.
Of course it was. Yeah.
So
Wow.
just the most pain for this man.
oh my God. That's so awful.
So on the 20th of September, Tian armed himself with a Type 81 assault rifle, and he killed the regimental political commissar on the drill ground.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, like literally on premises.
Just like, fuck you, pow.
Fuck you, pow. Yeah. So he also killed 3 other military officials who were trying to stop him, and he injured at least 10 more people before he fled the military base.
Wow.
And just the boldness of like attacking
Yeah. Like,
an armed military base.
yeah, and then it being actually having the ability to get off the base after is even crazier.
Insane. Yeah.
Wow.
While his fellow soldiers were ordered to change into civilian clothing under orders to like not disturb the public when they're searching for him.
Okay.
So while they're doing that, he hijacked a Jeep and started driving towards Beijing.
a lot of people there.
Yeah, although other reports say he boarded a bus. So he's either hijacked a car or he's just on a bus. I guess either way. I think it'd be weird to see someone just on a bus casually with a gun in China. That'd be a little weird.
I think he would stand out a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. At 7:20 a.m., they were approaching a red light in Jiangwomen. A man crashed his vehicle into a tree and tried to escape. Tian then killed him, jumped out of the car, and started to shoot people at random while making his way towards the embassy district. So he kind of just
Oh my God.
sees a man get into a car accident and then starts shooting.
This sounds like Grand Theft Auto.
It literally
it does.
it is giving GTA.
Yeah.
In this rampage on his way towards the embassy district, he killed 17 civilians,
Oh my God.
which includes Iranian diplomat Youssef Mohammadi Pishknari and his 9-year-old son.
Oh,
Well, another of Pishknari's sons and his daughter were wounded. So kill half this man's family at random.
that's fucked up.
So at this point, the reports say that thousands of police were rushing to the scene and like desperately trying to apprehend him. But they were unable to do so because he was obviously experienced in the military and an excellent marksman because he was like literally a sharpshooter.
Right.
Kind of the most trained to do this. The police finally besieged him at Yabao Road and engaged in a gun battle in which an undisclosed number of officers were killed and a number of passersby were also hit by bullets. So,
I love that it's undisclosed. Like the Chinese government was like, we're not even going to tell our own news people how many of our people died.
right, yeah, it's
that's-
very Chinese government of them.
Yes.
So a bus got caught in the line of fire during this shootout, which caused the driver to panic, so he stopped his vehicle, which ended up resulting in even more casualties because now they're sitting ducks.
Right. It's in a big target too.
Exactly. So eventually, police fire forced him to flee into a dead end, where he was then killed by a sniper.
All right.
your-
Ironic that a better
There's your poetic
sharpshooter.
justice,
Yeah,
if you will.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So the exact number of casualties is still unknown, But though in the immediate aftermath, 14 people were reported dead, 72 wounded, and many of them were so severely injured that doctors expected the death toll to rise to about 40 or 50.
Wow.
Holy crud.
Yeah, well, he's a sharpshooter, so if he's not killing them, I'm sure he's hitting them quite critically.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to do if you know how to shoot a gun. Yeah.
Exactly. So when Canadian television began to report live about this, the satellite transmission was immediately turned off by the Chinese government, and further reporting, including on-site interviews, were prohibited.
Again, perfect.
Which, again, is very Chinese government.
Yep.
Shortly after, the Beijing Garrison Command was ordered by the Central Military Commission to conduct a thorough review of the incident. Obviously, this looks fucking bad for the military.
Yes, it does.
The investigation was organized by the People's Liberation Army's General Staff Headquarters. And due to this investigation, which this is not what I would expect, in total, about 60 military officials were punished, demerited, or dismissed as a consequence of this shooting happening.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, right? Like, that's exactly what I thought. I thought, wow, actual consequences?
No, that's
actual
impressive.
Accountability?
That's impressive. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. And it's, you know, honestly, because of how much, like, gross negligence it would have taken to miss this, honestly, I'm impressed. So after this, the 3rd Guards Division of the Beijing Garrison was transferred from Beijing to a remote border post, and a general order was issued to the entire army by the Central Military Commission to strictly carry out weaponry management systems, so let's be more careful about these weapons, and to, quote, strengthen ideological work.
Okay, that's a weird phrase.
It, like, makes sense in, like, a cultural context of, like,
holding yourself to a better standard or something?
Right, or even, like, I don't know, it could make sense that there would be more, like, reminding people why this one-child policy exists, like, why it has, in their opinion, why it has to happen, and to decrease dissent, I guess, if I had to guess.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
So after all this, there were some others who were actually awarded for their handling of the shooting, including an official who directed the interception and the sharpshooter who killed him.
Which makes sense. That guy's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it clearly took a lot of people to stop this man. So props to who stopped him.
Yeah, that's good shit. I'm not going to lie.
It is. And we like to see that. With that is the case of the murder spree of Tian Mingjian.
That's crazy.
Absolute insanity.
It's one of those things where, like, you see why he reached his villain era.
Well, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, like it's such an obvious line, you know, but then once he decided to do it, it was like a video game. It was crazy. All right, so my second one of the roulette cases. Now, I have to say, I could have dug really deeply into this case and turned it into 2 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. We are going to literally, I took most of what this guy did and summed it up in 2 sentences because I don't think it necessarily needed to have gone into. This one takes us to Brazil. This one is the case of Pedro Rodriguez Filho. He will become known as Little Petey or the Little Killer. But we'll go through that a little bit.
Little Killer. What a nickname.
He is one of Brazil's most famous mass murderers.
Oh, wow.
Oh, shit. Well, I'm sure this is going to be interesting.
So Filho was born in 1954 on a farm in Santa Rita do Sapucaí, south of Minas Gerais in Brazil. His skull had been bruised as a result of his father kicking his pregnant mother's belly during a fight.
Holy fuck.
Crap.
This dude took a fucking head injury while in the womb.
That's messed up.
Yeah. He claimed he first felt the urge to kill at the age of 13 when he got into a fight with his older cousin.
Hey, buddy.
Right? He pushed his cousin onto a sugarcane press, almost killing him. He considered leaving him there to die before changing his mind.
What?
At 14, Filho shot the deputy mayor of his town in front of City Hall for having fired his father, who was a school guard, over accusations of stealing food from the school.
At 14?
Yep.
That's insane.
He then went on to shoot the security guard that he suspected actually did steal the food. So
Well, fuck.
yeah. So this dude's like out of his fucking head. At 14.
Already into vigilante justice at 14. Jesus.
So on the run, Filho took refuge in Mogi da Cruzes in the greater Sao Paulo area, where he began robbing drug dens and killing drug traffickers.
Okay, he's low-key giving, not starting with very justified killings, but like he's giving slight Dexter vibes.
Which is funny that you say that now, because he, once the Dexter show became, and the books became hugely famous, he was then referred to as the Brazilian Dexter.
Oh my
look
God.
At that.
Yeah. So yeah, and so his killing of drug traffickers made him a celebrity in the news media, and he was basically called a vigilante killer, which is where Little Petey or Killer Petey came about, which in Portuguese was Padrino Matador. Yeah.
That makes sense because it's kind of like an affectionate nickname.
Right. In a weird, twisted way, he's like the Robin Hood of killers. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
So Filho soon met a woman by the name of Maria Olympia, nicknamed Botinha, and they were living together.
All right, now he's got something to live for.
Filho took on duties as a local street gang and was soon, quote-unquote, forced to eliminate some of his rivals, killing 3 of his former associates.
Dang. I mean, that's what happens when you're in a gang.
Now, Maria became pregnant with his child, but she was murdered by a rival gang leader.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
That's not going to go well.
In revenge.
If I were a rival gang leader.
Yes, right? Who's the one person I wouldn't fuck with? Right.
Literally.
So, in revenge, Filho and his friends massacred 7 and injured 16 others at a wedding.
Oh, God.
Ooh, Jesus.
It's the Red Wedding.
Look,
Red
yeah.
wedding, yes. So, still underaged, Filho continued his revenge killing spree by tracking down and killing every member of that rival gang.
Well,
Yeah.
play stupid games, get stupid prizes, as they say.
Months later, he discovered that his favorite cousin was pregnant and that the baby's father refused to marry her. So,
dead.
So, Filho took care of him with a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
He soon discovered that his father, who he had kind of already grown to hate, had murdered and dismembered his mother with a machete.
Oh,
Bro,
my
what?
God.
Yeah, comes from a great family, right?
Bruh.
At 19, Filho was arrested for the first time on May 24th, 1973.
For the first time?
For the first time. Oh, just wait. This is nuts.
Lord.
So he would spend most of his adult years in prison. Police records show that at one point he was being transported in a vehicle with another prisoner, both of them handcuffed. During this transport, Filho killed the other inmate without the police noticing.
Without them noticing?
They
What?
didn't even notice. They opened the door after they got there, and the other prisoner was dead. And
This guy's a fucking professional. Jesus Christ.
yeah, he simply looked at them and was like, well, the man was a rapist. He deserved it.
Whoop. I mean, I can't disagree.
Throughout his time in prison, he became known as the vigilante killer because he supposedly killed over 100 other inmates for their crimes.
Dang.
100.
What the fuck?
Yeah, this is the point where I said earlier this could have been 2 episodes, and I'm taking one sentence to bring that down because there's no way. 100 other inmates.
And at no point are they putting him in maximum security.
I don't think that existed in Brazil at this time.
Maybe not. Maybe.
Because apparently...
Well, I mean, I guess they probably didn't mind. They saved a lot of money
Yeah,
removing
maybe.
inmates.
Yeah, and that you're right. That's probably why they didn't do anything about it. Because the Bangu, I think it's the Bangu prison is what this one he was held in. This had the one. It has one of the worst reputations in terms of prisons in Brazil. So
Damn.
now Filho claimed he never killed anyone that was innocent. And let's be honest, if you're in that prison, you're probably not innocent.
Mm-hmm.
He murdered rapists, pedophiles, drug traffickers, assassins, and traitors, or as he put it, bad people.
I mean,
So
Such an oversimplified explanation.
yeah, well, as he explained it, his motivation was anger, not bloodlust. But I think it was a bit of both.
those seem hand in hand.
Yeah. At one point during his prison sentence, his father was also serving time at the same prison with him.
Oh, he didn't kill his father
Oh,
beforehand?
I don't think he could get to him initially. I think he got
fair.
arrested before that. So now this is what Filho had to say about this. Quote, I arranged a well thought out plan and I turned up in my father's cell. I had promised revenge on my mother's coffin, unquote.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
After stabbing his father 22 times, he ripped out his father's heart and bit into it.
Ooh. That's harrowing.
Oh my God.
He said, quote, I just chewed it. I cut the tip of his heart off and
Oh,
chewed
God.
it, and then I threw it on top of his body, unquote.
Oh, it's fine if you just chewed it.
Yeah, you just swallow it.
Like, okay,
Is
that
it,
doesn't make it any less deranged, my guy.
is it cannibalism if you don't swallow? Just saying.
Asking no real questions.
So although he was sentenced for 126 years in prison, he was released in 2003 because Brazilian law at the time prohibited anyone from spending more than 30 years behind bars.
Well, that's just fucked.
What?
Yep. And that was revised to 40 years in 2019. After staying in prison for 34 years, Filho was released on April 24th, 2007, and he reportedly moved to a different town. But on September 15th of 2011, he was arrested again.
Mm-hmm.
He was sentenced to 8 years on charges of threatening people, illegal possession of weapons, and participation in illegal riots.
Huh.
He was released again on good behavior on December 10th, 2018. Following his second release from prison in 2018, he announced himself as being retired from his self-declared vigilantism and officially committed to not commit any more crimes.
Wow.
Right?
Scout's honor.
So,
is it weird that I'm like inclined to believe him?
well, here's the funny part. He then became a YouTuber.
Oh my God, what?
Holy shit.
Maintaining a YouTube channel called Pedro X Matador.
Oh my God, you cannot.
He then regaled his fans with tales of his sordid criminal past and warned young people against taking up a life of crime, mayhem, and murder. His YouTube channel had 27,500 subscribers, and he had a TikTok account with over 300,000 followers.
You're saying this in the past tense, as if he doesn't have one anymore?
They may still be up there, but I'm saying it in the past tense because Killer Petey's no longer with us.
Oh.
But we're about to get to that. On social media, he went by the nickname Pedro X Matador, and he had claimed to have found Jesus. However, at 10 a.m. on March 5th, 2023, Filho had his throat cut and was shot and killed by two men in Mogi das Cruzes, who then fled in another car. No suspects have ever been arrested. Yeah. Well, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yeah, it fits.
So Filho was the principal inspiration for Dexter Morgan in the show Dexter, in the books Dexter. And after the success of the TV show, which we said, he became known as the Brazilian Dexter. And that is the case of Little Petey from Brazil.
Wow.
That's fucking crazy. I told you that could have been
fucking crazy.
That could have been a whole episode all on its own, maybe 2 episodes, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw this out there and we're going to go with it.
Damn, like, yeah, I see him like with podcast appearances on YouTube.
Yeah, he's he doesn't, the younger pictures of him, he looks intimidating, but I mean, the older ones, he looks okay. And we're going to share some of this stuff on our YouTube channel. I mean, on on our Instagram.
On our YouTube channel.
All right, Jameson, you're up next. What's your second case?
All right. Now, this one has no calm to it, so I hope you guys are ready to dive right in.
All right.
This is the case of William Unek. Nothing is known about his early life. He was born in 1929 in the Belgian Congo. In 1954, Unek was then a police constable and went on a rampage in the Mangi territory, massacring 21 people with an axe in less than 90 minutes.
90 minutes.
Damn. That's quick.
Wow.
He
With
was
an
quite
axe?
precise.
That's not necessarily the most efficient tool. Jesus
No.
It's
Christ.
not, but it's impressive that he did it that quick with that kind of weapon.
And that many people, like, they didn't know to run?
At least to me.
Yeah,
Unek
seriously.
So Unek fled to the British Tanganyika territory, which was hundreds of miles away from where the incident had occurred. But due to it being underdeveloped area, his detection was unnoticed, and he was able to live life like nothing ever happened.
Wow.
In fact, he even got married. That normal life would all change as he went on a second killing spree in the early hours of February 11th in 1957 after an apparent misunderstanding between him and his supervisor.
Jesus.
This time, with the help of a stolen police rifle, Unek killed people in the village of Malapaka, and within 12 hours, he had killed 10 men, 8 women, and 8 kids.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah. He also axed 5 men, stabbed a 6th, and burned 2 women and a child, and strangled a 15-year-old girl.
What the fuck?
Jesus. This guy's fucking deranged.
Being efficient about what he's doing. He claimed 36 victims. After the killings, he changed out of his police uniform and into street clothes, but the street clothes were those of one of the deceased victims.
Wow.
So the guy had no shame. He found what he could get and changed into it and blended right back in.
Ugh.
This fucking guy.
Yeah, for real.
Among the dead was reportedly his wife, whom he had killed in their own hut,
What
and
the
then
fuck?
set the hut on fire.
Wow.
Woo.
Along with his wife was also the wife of a police sergeant.
I really wish we knew more about this guy's background. Jesus.
Well, it's the Congo, so there's probably not much information out there.
That's true, I guess. And this is a long time ago, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, this was the 50s. So for 9 days, he was sought by the Wasakama tribesmen, the British colonial police, and eventually the entire British military.
Jesus Christ. I guess that's what happens when you kill that many people that quickly.
So despite an extensive search, which included dogs and aircrafts, he remained undetected. He eluded everything. And he would have stayed eluded if he had not come up to go look for food at a friend's house. He had gone to his friend Imibu's house, and he had gone there looking for food. Imibu went to the police and told them what had happened. And the police had said, okay, if he comes back, let us know.
Yeah, and the guy did the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Yeah, your friend kills his own wife. You're not my friend anymore.
Not just that, killing anybody, really, but yes.
Well, yes, also that.
Unek does, in fact, show back up at his friend's house at 1 a.m. the following day. And he is armed. He's got a gun in his hand, and he's definitely paranoid and on the lookout. And so Imibu sends his wife to go to the police station. He says, go tell them that he's here. I'll keep him busy.
Which I got to give him credit for, that he sent the wife out of harm's way. That's a better way to do it.
Yeah.
The fact that Unek was not suspicious of that blows my mind a little bit.
Yeah, I guess somehow they were sneaky.
Yeah, because where are you going at 1 a.m. anywhere, let alone the Congo?
So the two guys have a near 2-hour conversation. Unek is fed food and he's kept busy. And when the police arrive, Amibu is told to leave the house, and the police throw a smoke bomb inside the house, which catches the house on fire.
That sucks.
Jeez, yeah. You're doing the right thing, and the police are like, burn your house down.
Right.
Unek was severely injured as he was trying to escape capture, and he later succumbed to his wounds in the hospital. Unek was only in his late 20s when he died.
Wow.
Damn. He did a lot of fucking damage in that time.
Yes, he did. Amibu did receive financial compensation for what had happened. He received 125 pounds, which was 1957 money. I'm not sure what that...
Right, that was probably a shitload of money.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot, for 57.
And he also received the British Empire Medal for his bravery.
Okay.
They could have just been like, okay, good job, and just walked away. But
right,
good for them for saying, hey, you helped us, you did this.
Oh, it's the least they could do after setting his house on fire.
Truly, they compensated him, but that's all his stuff forever, yeah.
In response to the massacre, a fund was created to help the descendants of those who were killed, and a maternity clinic was built in honor of the victims.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nothing is known of his motive as far as the killings go. Newspapers at that time just called him a maniac.
Which he was. So you wonder what really drove him to do that. Is it just that he had anger control issues? Or was he mentally disturbed? It's too bad we don't know.
Right. It's like we know nothing about his background. Like, who knows what could have drawn him to be like that?
All right, so we got one case left. Joyous?
Yes, we do.
All right. This case is a little bit different, taking us down to Madagascar, and we're going to be talking a little bit about Kung Fu and Kung Fu culture in Madagascar.
Bizarre. Okay.
Yeah, well, here we go. There is a big Kung Fu culture in Madagascar. So Madagascan Kung Fu is a visually stunning martial art that draws inspiration from movement of the elements and animals. At times, it's more like a dance than combat. And it's really, really big in Madagascar. There are tens of thousands of registered students across the island with a variety of different styles.
Okay.
So there's more than meets the eye, though. So in modern Madagascar, it's no longer just a recreational sport. It's come to mean a lot of different things. It has religious significance and it has political significance. It has a lot of different, impacts on the culture.
Which is bizarre because it's, I don't know, for us here, I just picture Kung Fu Panda. We don't take it that seriously here.
Right. And I must say, while I was researching this case, it was really hard to find any information that was not about Kung Fu Panda.
I can see that, yes.
When you search Madagascar Kung Fu, all it comes up is Kung Fu Panda 2, which apparently takes place in Madagascar.
And I was going to say, and then there's the cartoon Madagascar.
Right, indeed. So there was a lot of animated pandas and animals as I was really trying to figure out information about this case.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, so if you try to Google this, don't try to fact check me. You're only going to watch Kung Fu Panda.
Awesome. You could be making this up right now. That's fun.
Yeah. Anyway, so Kung Fu primarily appeals to Madagascar's middle-class youth of both genders, with some students beginning as young as 4. But it also has a strong following in the kind of older portions of society. And so, yeah, continue through. It's not just like my kid does karate or whatever. It is persistent throughout their life. So one quote from the president of the Kung Fu Society of Madagascar says, ministers, doctors, lawyers, and especially priests all practice Kung Fu.
Priests.
So it's very very through society and very taken seriously.
Wow, priest. I would love to see. Now this is like a bad movie waiting to happen.
And you know what? The movie's made. It's Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, you're right. Right.
You want to see the bad movie? It's probably on Netflix.
Yeah, probably. Or Disney Plus or wherever the hell. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What you don't know is that this podcast is sponsored by Kung Fu Panda.
I wish. That'd be fun.
Send me merch.
Right?
Anyway, the Kung Fu movement has always had really strong links with the church in Madagascar. And every physical session of Kung Fu is preceded by a rigorous group meditation and prayer.
Okay, interesting.
So one quote from a practitioner of Kung Fu says, "For us, God is the Grand Master."
That's terrifying.
Anyway, you know what? I love to see religion serving a strong purpose.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was picturing more like God is sitting there going through those practice motions, and he just. Sorry.
Yeah, you're picturing God doing Kung Fu. It's very intimidating.
Exactly.
So knowing all that, so Madagascan Kung Fu symbolizes a lot more than martial arts. It's definitely, there's a huge spiritual component and kind of like a central belief of, to be good, you must first conquer the mind. Only then can you fully control your body. So it's definitely like mind and spirit kind of vibes.
Which is too bad the other 5 cases we covered tonight didn't know that phrase.
Yeah. Historically, Kung Fu first arrived in Madagascar from China in the 1970s. It was, it's been closely integrated into the culture of Madagascar, sort of because the Madagascan culture beforehand was very similar to Kung Fu culture. So it was kind of received, with open arms and really became very influential. Since then, because it is so central, politics, religion everywhere, the center of a lot of political controversies.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes. All right. So we're talking about one in particular. So in the late 1970s and 80s, Kung Fu began to symbolize a widespread vigilante movement, kind of like, people taking the power, people having, this like sort of militant power that was created in response to government-controlled terror gangs.
That sounds frightening too.
Yeah, terrifying. I hate that. And it's not surprising. Like, it makes sense that, Kung Fu kind of arrived and then people were like, oh, like, this is how we get our power back.
Yeah, that's fucking weird.
Yeah. So these terror gangs were wreaking absolute havoc in the capital city of Madagascar. So, for instance, soldiers backed by armored vehicles had attacked the headquarters of an underground Kung Fu sect. And in that attack, they killed the leader and 19 of his followers.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
So this is a big strike considering like how integral this had become to culture. And they're just like going after the leader of a sect.
Just imagine that happening here. Like, you decide to open whatever, the Baptist Church of Massachusetts, and then the government fucking crashes in your door and starts shooting people.
Literally.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So in this attack, 31 people were wounded and 208 people were arrested. Obviously not the attackers, the
Right.
people who were, in the Kung Fu sect.
208 were arrested. They couldn't even handle Jonestown that well. Holy shit.
For real. So the reports did not say if the sect members were armed or if there were any government casualties in the battle, which they said lasted several hours.
That's so fucked up.
Which is kind of surprising considering, like, I don't know, all of these people that you're attacking are physically trained.
Yeah, but if you're shooting at them, what are they going to do?
Right, exactly. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, I know there's that one movie, The Last Dragon, where the dude can catch a bullet in his teeth, but, that's probably not likely. Sorry.
Yeah, perhaps Kung Fu movies,
yeah, it's kind of
not accurate to real life, but are great movies.
Yeah.
If you've never seen Ip Man,
Oh, of
you
course.
should.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, good. That's a fucking great movie.
Yeah, some of them are fantastic. Anything with Jackie Chan, I'm on board. Yeah.
Truly. This battle followed like a long conflict between this sect and Madagascar's North Korean trained militia. I thought that was crazy. Madagascar's militia is trained by North Korea.
That's weird, yeah.
And so this militia was known as Youth Awareness, and they largely recruited unemployed youths.
Oh, wow.
So, like ISIS.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The sect's leader, who was named Pierre Mizal Andriana Jauna,
Okay.
I'm making an attempt, who said he was protecting Madagascar's population against the oppression from this government militia. So he was killed in the battle.
Wow.
So he was an outspoken critic of the government of Madagascar, and he had repeatedly led his followers to attack the youth awareness squads before this.
Oh, okay. So this didn't come out of nowhere. They were basically attacking these youth groups and kind of brought this on themselves.
In a way, but like, this is also self-defense. There's literally terror gangs.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's true, too. What a fucked up situation Madagascar was in.
For real. So coming to the modern day, the Kung Fu movement has once again become very politically active on the island, charging itself with the personal protection of self-proclaimed president Mark Ravalomanana.
That's not a real name. Sorry, I'm kidding.
Mark. Yeah, it's like your name.
Mark.
Ravalomanana. Your first name is Mark.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it's very idiosyncratic. One of his followers states, Ravalomanana reflects the ideology of the Kung Fu, and that is why we must protect him.
Terrifying. God, that's still a cult.
Yeah, I mean, you tell me the difference between religion and a cult, and I'll tell you.
That's true, too.
Today, the same Kung Fu sect provides security at all of his political meetings, and they also man the numerous security checkpoints in the towns and, maintaining a militia of Kung Fu warriors, essentially.
See, that just sounds so ridiculous and terrifying at the same time.
It does sound mostly terrifying to me. It's been portrayed in our society as something to not be taken seriously and
Right.
projected as, kind of like silly Kung Fu movies and kind of like a silly thing. But like, it's clearly very serious and very treasured and sacred to this community and to this culture.
No, that's true. And you know what? I'll laugh at it until someone using it kicks my ass.
Right,
Then I won't be
exactly.
laughing anymore. Wow.
So one of the thing that's going on now is this militia of Kung Fu warriors mans numerous security checkpoints across the town. So really, I guess they're becoming their own sort of government. And recently, a contingent of 200 warriors was sent to destroy an economic blockade that was being run by, the incumbent government regime, the actual government.
Wow. So they're like literally one half of a civil war.
Yeah. And that's like where the tensions are right now. So one of them said, "We are ready to die for our cause and fear nothing except God," which is terrifying.
Yeah, that's. You know what? I'm gonna check Madagascar off of my vacation list.
Yeah, you better, especially if you're gonna be giggling at Kung Fu, you better watch it.
Right? Could you imagine?
The way things are now. Keep your eyes on Madagascar. There's probably gonna be more Kung Fu battles in the future.
Fun.
All right, and that is the case of I guess it's really a case of
Kung Fu.
Government massacre.
Yeah, government massacre and Kung Fu.
Kung Fu.
Two things you never thought you'd see combined.
Right? And
For real.
especially Madagascar and Kung Fu. But if they were trained by North Korea, I guess it makes sense that Kung Fu was somehow brought down there. But how did North Korea? I want to look up the history of Madagascar and find out how North Korea had any kind of influence.
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting. All right. So
yeah, it's very. I was like, it was surprising to hear about like Kung Fu coming to Madagascar because like coming all the way from China to Africa.
I mean, it's interesting, but I guess that's the way the world has gone because now you have stuff everywhere. Like there's still borders, but there isn't that distance anymore.
Yeah.
That is our first Roulette episode. Definitely let us know what you guys thought of that. Let us know if this is something you think we should do again. This might run a little longer than our normal episodes, but hey, I personally enjoyed it. But if it's too much or too long,
it was a lot of fun doing it. So I mean, if you guys want to keep hearing it, you just let us know.
And also tell us which is your favorite case.
Yes, definitely tell us your favorite case. And of course, since Joyous loves the competition, which one of us was your favorite presenter?
Oh, jeez.
We might as well just keep that going.
What is this? The Grammys for the podcast?
Why
here?
not? We
Yes,
should.
it is.
We should. All right. So thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next week for our next episode. I am Janus Dead.
I'm Jameson Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.